Hello, my name is Alexandra Crow, and I'm going to quickly explain my map on heart disease in Appalachia. The intent of this capstone is to research the relationship between some suggested environmental risk factors for heart disease among one of the most rural places in the United States. Did you know that heart disease has been the #1 killer of Americans since the early 1900s? Advancements in technology has just given us a better explanation of why and where the disease is most prevalent. The southeastern United States has been studied time and again, but I want to focus on Appalachia because it's where I'm from and I've seen heart disease and its effect on real people here. So what is heart disease? Heart disease is a branch of cardiovascular disease and is the leading cause of death in the United States. The CDC describes heart disease as a collection of several types of heart conditions, the most common of which is coronary artery disease, and can be brought on by poor lifestyle habits and health conditions. The spatial distribution of heart disease is probably very familiar and not shocking for many of you. Across America, heart disease is primarily focused along the southeastern rural counties, forming what is colloquially known as the stroke belt. The stroke belt is an 11-state region of the United States where studies show that the risk of stroke is 34% higher for the general population than it is in any other part of the country. This map shows the heart disease hospitalization rates for people over 65 in the years 2015 through 2017 and is produced by the CDC. Why do you think this region is most affected? The rural southern counties are clearly impacted. Throughout my research, there are distinct rural-urban disparities for heart disease and its associated risk factors. Rural counties have a high prevalence of poor eating habits, obesity, hypertension, drinking and smoking, and poor overall health. The South and its many rural counties have been studied extensively, but I'd like to turn your attention to Appalachia. The Appalachian region of the United States includes parts of 12 states and all of West Virginia for a total of 13 states included. There are 420 counties, 107 of which are rural. The population of Appalachia is around 25 million people, and consider that nearly 20% of adults in the region report being cigarette smokers. Almost 1/3 of adults in the region are considered obese, about 31%. The prevalence of diabetes in Appalachia is 11.9% compared to 9.8% in the country overall. And in Appalachia, 28.1% of adults over the age of 20 report being physically inactive. It is also an area of the country known for its poverty and limitations on medical care. Heart disease mortality in Appalachia is 17% higher than the national average. That is because the prevalence of these heart disease risk factors are very high in this region. It is widely accepted that there are two categories of controllable risk factors that can lead to the development of heart disease, which are health conditions and behavioral risk factors. But let's consider nature versus nurture. I asked the question, are there environmental risk factors that affect the spatial distribution of heart disease rates? Through literary research, I found that green space, air quality, and temperature rates have shown to affect elements of heart disease, but at the neighborhood levels. Therefore, I conducted my own research on these three variables, and here's what I found. Green space, calculated through Normalized Difference Vegetation Index, varies across Appalachia. Through generalized linear regression, NDVI was found to have an R value of less than 0.01. However, after applying geographic weighted regression, NDVI's adjusted R value increased substantially to 0.5102, suggesting that greenness could predict over 50% of heart rate hospitalization rates at the local level. Air quality index and temperature resulted in similar R values for generalized linear regression and geographic weighted regression, suggesting that these environmental risk factors can't explain or predict heart disease hospitalization rates among a large region or at a global scale, and therefore should not be considered as substantial risk factors for heart disease in America. So that's it. That's a quick overview of my map. Feel free to read the methods and discussion for more information, and my data sources are also available in the bottom right corner. Thanks for listening.